Meeting for the evening of April 1st, April Fool's Day. You have before you an agenda. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Looking for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. I've got Beth's report. If you'll indulge me. Enrollment, we have a slight decline in enrollment with 12 fewer students this month, 1,721 from 1,733. NES, 2 fewer students, NIS, 4 fewer students, CPS, 2 fewer students, and HS, 4 fewer students. It's not clear what the reason may be behind this decrease. Moving on to staggered start times. A few months ago, I shared that there might be a necessity to consider staggered start times for our lower schools, NIS and NES, and upper schools, CPS and NHS. We discussed having a public forum to gather information from staff, parents, and community leaders. However, after several discussions with the district leadership team, Cape Cod Collaborative and Union leadership, we decided to table the idea of staggering start times and instead focus on improving our transportation services. Ideas that came up: issuing bus tags with QR codes for all students who are signed up to take the bus. Conducting a routes study to determine whether there can be consolidation of bus stops. The Cape Cod Collaborative will increase visibility and advertisement in our local media, the Current, INM, and Daybreak. Providing 2 7D vehicles that can transport up to 7 to 8 students to and from home. A 7D license is much easier to obtain, and we hope there are some locals that would be interested in getting their license. There are continuing conversations with NERDA to offer an alternative means of transportation for middle and high school students beside our school buses. MCAS season has begun. Last week, the NIS 5th graders and NHS 10th graders kicked off the spring testing season with ELA MCAS exams on the 25th and 26th. Even though the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has replaced its testing system with a different platform, which is proving to be a bit clunky, that's not very unusual, our administrators and teachers were successful at dealing with any immediate concerns. Our internet also remains stable during the testing sessions, thankfully. Next week, grade 4 will test, and the week after it'll be for grade 3 and 6 through 8 at CPS. Math and science testing will begin for grades 3 to 8 at the end of April and continue until the end of May. High school math will happen at the end of May. In June, we will hold a 10th grade science MCAS and the brand new 8th grade civics MCAS. Best wishes to all students who are testing. Get a good night's sleep and a hearty breakfast, and try hard. Just a reminder that even though at the November ballot, Massachusetts voted to revoke MCAS as a competency determination for high school graduation, MCAS scores still count toward our district accountability. We still want all of our students to take this assessment seriously and do their very best to make Nantucket proud. Applied Learning Discovery Program for NHS administrators. As you have heard us share, Nantucket has been the recipient of a very valuable grant focusing on applied learning shifts in the middle and high school classroom. This year, Nantucket High School administrators and superintendent are taking part in an applied learning discovery program to attend meaningful professional development sessions with other Massachusetts districts around adopting high-quality curriculum materials and encouraging collaborative, meaningful classroom instruction. In the fall, we spent a day visiting two Boston high schools who have strong applied learning practices in place. And this week, we will be visiting model schools in Denver, Colorado to see more applied learning in action. Our middle school principal and curriculum directors are in year 2 of the grant, and they have seen great success with our adoption of applied learning programs at CPS, such as Project Lead the Way, Open SciEd, and the Democratic Knowledge Project. At our second meeting in April, both middle and high school teams are excited to have an opportunity to share details of our year 1 and year 2 experiences with you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we're going to do the dropout rate. Mandy, you're up.
Thank you for having me this evening. This is not really our favorite topic, but it is one that is worth discussing and reviewing. So our dropout rate, it says 2023-24, it's typically always a year behind whenever we take a look with the DESE data. The data is based on our student enrollment as of June 2024, and the DESE had us at 589 students at that time, grades 9 through 12. Of those students, we had 10 students who were reported as dropouts, which is 1.7% of our total school population. What I find interesting about these numbers is that the students were from 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, no seniors. So 1 student in 9th grade, 4 in 10th, and 5 in grade 11. Sorry, Kevin. 5 of those students are English language learners, and 1 student entered the Job Corps, but we don't have any information as to whether they've finished that program at this time. If they do finish the program, they come off of our dropout rate, so our 10 would go to 9. 7 of the 10 students were female, 3 of the 10 students were male. 4 students are white, 2 Portuguese, and 4 Hispanic or Latino. So I always find it interesting to take a look at the numbers over the last 10 years. And so interestingly enough, we had 10 students that were reported as dropouts in 2016 to 2017. And same as this year, and then the next highest was 9 in 2021-22. I will say that, so I know the names of the students that are reported as dropouts, and I know that 2 of the students who left our school were for social emotional reasons and mental health reasons where they were seeking outside treatment. Is missing. Oh, here it is. Some of the things that we're trying to do to encourage our students to stay in school, we continue to do co-observations with our L director and SEI walkthrough observations where we're specifically looking for teaching strategies that are being used to help engage our L students. Our guidance department also is spending more time. I did not put this on the slide, but I was talking with one of our counselors today. They are doing more to encourage students for the college pathway, where they are doing separate meetings for our multilingual students so that they can have language-based support. And they're also planning an upcoming trip in May that is an L multilingual students who will be going off island to take a look at colleges. Nice. So working to encourage those students to consider more of that college pathway. This year we added co-taught classes with an ESL teacher and a regular ed teacher in social studies and science. We see that continuing for next year. All of our teachers this year participated in SEI professional development. We had Confianza, it's how we kicked off our school year. And that was specifically to take a look at strategies that they're using in the classroom. Our ask of the consultants who came in is that when we're looking at those strategies, we're not adding something to the teachers that they have to make sure they're doing, but how do they take what they're already doing and translate those to SEI strategies so that you're reaching your multilingual students. We continued the use of the Accelerate Academy, so we have quite a few students who they use the Accelerate Academy to catch up on credits because we have students who enter ninth grade at age 15, 16, so they're a little bit older than normal because the normal age for ninth grade. We help them to catch up with their credits so that they can still graduate on time with their age group. And it's been pretty helpful, and we have, I should have picked up the number, I apologize for that. But I know that we have at least a half a dozen students right now who are on that track to accelerate their credits so that they'll be able to graduate with this year's class. We have one student who this year who was about to, we thought, age out. We contacted the DESE. He's a multilingual learner, and we were able to keep him till the end of the school year, so he's able to finish his credits, and he already has plans to enter college after high school. So he will be part of our graduating class rather than having to exit him from our school in January. We also have added, with our bridge room, we have some multilingual support in our bridge room for clinical and counseling services. So we have added a student support group for all new students coming to the district, but also focusing on our multilingual learners because we have the multilingual counselor. We are looking for more multilingual support as far as SEL support and counseling support. So we continue to look for that. And that's it, unless you have some questions.
Vince?
Yep. So, just trying to see if I understand it correctly. There's some commonalities amongst the girls, amongst the females. So there's some English language and some emotional needs amongst the ladies. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So when you look at our multilingual learners, one of the things that we're learning is that some of our multilingual learners, especially our Hispanic community, some of those students exit school early because they need to go to work.
Yep.
And we do have some students that we've worked with by trying to do a reduced schedule so that they can still get their classes but also have time to do work. But that's more often than not. We just had a student, actually your numbers are going to change, Dr. Lepre. We just got notified today that one of our students is exiting for that reason, that he is going to work, and most often they're either supporting themselves or they're helping to support their families.
I understand. Last question, if I may. You described one student who's going to leave for work reasons, for support reasons. You described one boy who's managing to stay through graduation. I know the numbers for boys are small. You had 3 in here. Are there any other commonalities amongst those 3?
Of the boys? If I think back to the names, I would say that they were work related. That they were leaving because they are going to work full time.
Are there certain colleges that they will be visiting, or just whatever interests them, or is there sort of a geographic area?
There is, and she just told me today, and it escapes me. But I am happy to find that out and let you know. But they're taking a small group of 13 students,
Nice.
and specifically to show them like what college could look like. They're not seniors; they're underclassmen. And because I specifically did ask about that, because I know, like we have different things coming up in May. And so I think it's it's exciting that we have a small group of students that are pursuing this and looking to
great.
get more information.
Thank you.
When they age out, are they considered dropouts, or is that a different?
So when we say age out, here's what I learned. So aging out means that when a student reaches age 22, they are no longer entitled for special ed services because they age out of the program. I called because this particular student is not a special ed student. I have a really kind of a friend now over the years because I've spent so much time calling and verifying information. And I called him and I said, is there a reason why, if he's not special ed, it's not about services that we have to age him out? Why can't he at least, I mean, I called just to see if we could finish out the semester because he was supposed to, his age was, his birthday was beginning January. And he put me in touch with the person I needed to speak with, and they said, there's no reason why you have to age them out. That's for special ed services. So he is able to stay to the end of the year, and he's flourishing.
That's great.
Chantal?
I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Well, I think it's important to claw these kids back as much as we can and make ourselves available to them.
Oh, thank you.
Because a high school diploma is pretty necessary in today's world. Whether or not they go into college, I mean, it's, I think, a mark of somebody that's got some perseverance.
Well, I think one of the things, and that's a really good point, Dr. Lapry, I think one of the things that we're learning, even if you take a look in our vocational programming, like so students who choose a trade and they go into the vocational programs, they still need some education. Like there are certain things that in today's society, they're more computerized, they're more digitized, and they need to be able to learn those in order to keep up with, the market demand. So I do have an answer. Thank you, Katie.
Oh.
They are going to Bridgewater State University and Wheaton College.
Oh, great.
And yes.
Great. Thank you.
So that's our 10th graders. Our multilingual students are, I think they might also be going to Bridgewater, but that's going to be a separate trip. It's just a small group of 13. So what they do is they do the, what's it called? Take Your Dreams Across the Sound.
Oh, the Journey Across the Sound.
Yes, the Journey Across the Sound, and they take the whole 10th grade class to go visit, or
That's
as
great.
many of them as want to go. We don't force them to go.
That's great.
I mean, we've had kids that worked full-time and went to school.
Right.
So, I mean,
Well, since I've been here, I will tell you, Dr. Hallett and I have talked about, how do we bring in some alternative programming for those students who need to work during the day. Now that we're going into our busy season, a lot of these students are going to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, but they'll be done by 2, 3. So how do we bring in some alternative education so maybe they could be taking classes from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and they could continue with, being able to matriculate and earn a diploma.
great.
That is, so what would that look like? You would, the core teachers, or you would need to,
So most likely what you would do is you would hire teachers for an evening program, and you would start with the course, absolutely.
right?
Your basic math, science, English, social studies. And that would be a starting point at least. And if we could offer like even 3 courses an evening, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
I mean, it's just great for somebody to be able to achieve that, I
Yes.
think. However we have to
Agreed.
do it, I mean, I know Kathy has made a lot of intros to students and stayed after them, so they were about to drop out, but they came back and
Oh, yeah.
graduated.
And the State Department requires an exit interview with the principal. So any student who says that they're going to leave, like the student that we just heard about today, I said, so we have to now get in touch with them. They have to come in for an exit interview. So that's when we have the opportunity to say, this is what your options are. And I always say to them that you're more than welcome to come back. We will welcome you back and we will work with you. Sometimes we've had some of those meetings before where we've been able to develop an alternative plan, so maybe it's a reduced schedule so that it's more amenable to what their life needs to be, and we can help them still continue on to earn that diploma.
That's great.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
I
ma'am.
appreciate it.
Wellness Committee update. Mike?
So, good evening, Michael Horton, Cyrus Pierce Middle School Principal. Tonight, I am speaking as one of the co-leaders of the NPS Wellness Committee, providing an update on our progress so far this year. My other co-leader is Mary Lepre, who couldn't make it tonight. So, we have met 2 times this year, back on January 8th and March 12th. Per the NPS wellness plan that was adopted last year, we have promised, and we're supposed to meet 4 times per year. We have plans to meet this month, probably not tomorrow, but either Wednesday and the half day, the 9th, or on the 16th, right before April break. And then if we could meet one last time in late May or June, we will make that goal of 4 meetings per year. We are required to post the minutes on the npsk.org website. It's under Departments, Wellness, and you'll see there's a place for the meeting minutes. And this chart here, I wanted to clarify that there's basically 3 different groups. Let's see if I can scroll it a little bit better for viewing. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. There's a wellness committee of the same name, comprised of wellness and PE teachers. That is led by Dr. Mandy Bardsley, our STEM director. And their focus is implementing the new Massachusetts Health and Wellness frameworks that were just revised in the past year, hadn't been touched since 1998. So that is kind of a separate group of this bigger, larger group. And then Sherry Lewis Schaller is our coordinator of student support and social emotional learning. She leads another wellness committee that's comprised of all of our school's counselors and social workers. And their focus is the emotional and mental health of our NPS students. And then lastly, the group that Mary and I are in charge of, we are designated by the superintendent, as this is a little bit of a checks and balances from the school committee policy, and something that's required. And a couple of years ago, if you remember, we were audited, and at that time we did not have a wellness committee in place. We worked with a wellness coach last year to put this wellness committee in place. And what's interesting is our primary focus is food services, nutrition, and the serving and distribution of food in our 4 schools. That connects to nurses, counselors, wellness teachers, and it's important to note that one of our most important members is our food service director. So, relative to that, one of the challenges that we've been facing this year is upon the retirement of Linda Peterson, we've been waiting for Chartwell's to name a permanent food service director. Christian and Ken are wonderful people. I had the chance to go down and meet them since our last meeting in March. I believe Ken is here on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Christian, who's actually the Melrose food service director, comes over to the island on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. They've been filling in and doing a great job, but I know that that's not a long-term plan, so we look forward to what that plan is, as we need to have someone from Food Services, Chartwell's, attending our meetings. So we will invite Christian to our meeting later this month on a Wednesday. The last number 5 here, these are all the talking points summing up the last 2 committee meetings. We continue to discuss the enforcement, or the decision on how much enforcement do we have at the lower schools for outside treats being brought in by parents for birthday parties and other events. Also known as a cupcake conversation. This conversation has occurred here in this format, I think about 2 years ago. Similarly, we've discussed and heard from staff from the middle school and high school. Are we going to continue to allow the lavish lunches that are dropped off at our front offices? We've had students order Uber Eats and Grubhub. At a certain point, how do we police that? Is that a good idea? Is it a bad idea? So it's part of our conversation, and one of the reasons why we exist as a committee. We are focusing on, with those frameworks, the implementation of new health resources. There are new health resources in place at the middle school in high school, and Dr. Bardsley has been leading that. There are discussions on what that might look like at the lower grades. And the last few here. Our school nurses reported that they worked on an individual basis with Linda Pearson to ensure that there are always gluten-free options in our cafeterias with individual students with the celiac condition. So they just wanted to make sure that, with Linda's retirement, that Ken and Christian are on top of that, and I was assured that they are, and that's really great. Many times the students actually pack and bring their own lunch, but we just have to make sure that we have those options in place. Another conversation we had recently is that food insecurity is real on Nantucket, and there's an estimation that about 1/3 of our nurse visits would actually be eliminated if we tackled that differently. Nurses do provide some snacks out of their office. Sometimes it's budgeted, sometimes it's out of their own pocket. So that is something that we are talking about and what we can do to help in those situations. And then I think you're aware, about a month or so ago, Mary Lepre spoke as the NES school nurse that there is a need for a part-time additional nurse to kind of float and cover among all 4 buildings. As the CPS principal, I definitely support that. We've had staff out for any variety of reasons, and it's tough to get a sub in when it's a nurse position, which is a much more specialized set of skills. And then this is interesting, and I'll leave you with this. This is literally food for thought. Students have loved the increase of choices. Today is a really good example. At CPS, and I'm assuming it was the same in the other buildings, there was a chicken patty sandwich, there was a spicy chicken sandwich, there was a grilled cheese, there was a cheeseburger, there was a salad bar, and then there were 3 different choices of pizza. There was cheese, pepperoni, and a deluxe veggie version. So I think if my math is correct, that's 8 different choices. Okay, that's great. Problem is, when you have 8 choices, it takes students a lot longer to make that choice. So the line takes longer. When it was just 1, it was like, here you go, next, here you go, next, here you go, next. Students are loving the increase in choices, and I give a lot of credit to Christian and Ken filling in from Chartwell's. What's interesting, and you may be aware of this, is that pizza has been served every day for, I would say, roughly the past month. It's great that there's 3 different choices of pizza about every day. And, unfortunately, the novelty of this has worn off. I don't know if Cecilia wants to speak to this at some point, but now we have students who are actually complaining that they're sick of pizza. And we have adults questioning the healthiness of students racing to get pizza every single day. It's food for thought. I know we're in a temporary situation, and I imagine it is a low cost, big return item. It keeps people very happy, but I'm just not sure if it's a sustainable plan or not for the future. These are the items that we discuss as a district nutritional wellness committee.
Thank you. Pizza question.
It's not a question. I actually just noticed today that there were quite a few options in lunch today. One of my favorites is the tomato soup, and it was available today. So I rushed
That came with
the grilled cheese and the tomato soup. It's fantastic. So I rushed to go get my own. I will say maybe pizza every day is not the best, but as a vegetarian, it has been amazing to have my options that I can eat rather than just the one meat option, which obviously I understand. You gotta get all the protein in, but it has been fantastic to have options.
Wow.
Yeah. Because not every day you wake up late. Sometimes you can't make lunch. That happened today, and I was very excited to be able to go get lunch at school rather than not eating.
Vince?
Yeah, 2 questions, if you don't mind. So, I'm entertained by this lavish lunch thing, and it's hard to disagree with good quality food coming in. That's one thing. But my question is very simple. It sounds like things are getting delivered. Does that take up any staff time if things are coming to front offices?
Not really. It's more of a holding location in the front office,
Okay.
Where admin staff would hold the item with the student's name on it.
Yeah.
And the students call down, and it's their responsibility to go get it. The question from our committee, one of our committee members brought up the equity issue.
Yeah.
Is some students get it and some students don't get it. And there's a certain level of jealousy and a certain level of grabbing, stealing, sharing, borrowing. But there's lots of prongs to this because in some situations, if a parent works for a restaurant, they may get a discount, they may get free pizza, they may get free 45 Surfside or free Boathouse. And that is just, if you're running late, that is the solution to at least get food to the student.
Is there any way we could get numbers to how many of these come in per day?
Sure.
Okay.
I have to do some research, but
Yeah,
I mean,
no, just-
I can just tell you, anecdotally, if you look at the CPS front counter before any lunch, there's probably 12 bags.
Yeah.
So that's roughly 10% of 120 students in a lunch group.
Wow.
It's the same at the high school.
Unbelievable. My last thing isn't even a question. It's, did I count it right? Did you list off 8 different food choices today?
So there was a chicken patty,
Yeah.
spicy chicken patty, cheeseburger, the grilled cheese with the tomato soup. That's 4. Salad bar.
Yeah.
It's 5, and there's 3 different choices of pizza.
That's epic. That's brilliant to hear.
That's
There's
been
that much-
sustained pretty close, like last month, month and a half, I would say, since probably February vacation.
Yeah. And by the way, I've seen the salad bar is epic. It's very, very pleasant.
Yep, it's fresh.
Yeah.
Everything looks healthy.
And all of that is supported by apples, fruit,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Can we recognize a member of the audience?
So, a couple of principals through the chair.
Wait, can I,
You wanna be
can,
sure
remember we have
the
to ask them to
comments
come up.
you get?
I'm sorry, in our recent meeting,
Yep.
we decided that it, just for
For
the
the viewers
public,
at
they
home.
can't hear. Sorry,
We're working on
yeah.
this kind of thing.
We're trying to do better.
Wore a jacket tonight because I think my mom's watching from.
And I have a cheerleader voice, so I could have done that. back
Yes, I
then.
know.
So both Becky and I just want to be clear, those options do not exist at the elementary school or the intermediate school. We have a one-choice food item, and then there are sandwiches that, should you not want you can get sun butter and jelly, or sometimes a ham and cheese sandwich. My question was really to you, Mr. Horton. Gluten-free was not something that we knew to have at the elementary school. So when you just reported on that, I'm not sure whether I heard you or not. Are there gluten-free options at the elementary school and the intermediate school? Because I didn't believe we had those. Those were my
Thank
comments
you.
through the
Thank you.
chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim.
Chantal?
Well, it sounds like the high school and the middle school are the ones getting all these great quality lunches. So I wonder if clearly a conversation needs to be had with our food providers, if our littles aren't getting those same great options, or at least healthy options, other options. You know, I think about my kid, like he can't have gluten. So it'd be unfortunate if his
Same.
options are too gluten off. And you have littles down there, so
and the celiac kid.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is just for the principals all to connect with their school nurse. Their school nurse knows that list and was literally getting 1 or 2 meals set aside for the students that the nurse knew. That's what I discovered at CPS. I just want to make sure, because that was done on a relationship-wise between the middle school nurse and Linda Peterson directly.
Okay. That's good to know.
Esmeralda?
No questions.
So it sounds to me, because I was on this last year, the food service part, that the quality at CPS in the high school has increased. Is that fair to say? Noticeably so.
Very noticeably, yeah.
And what caused that, do you think? Conversation? Feedback from the students?
I can just speculate that Christian from Melrose brings how he operates Melrose to Nantucket, because when he started, that's when the change began at the middle school, high school. I'm sorry, I did not realize that wasn't the same extension at the
Right.
lower grades, so that is a good question for Chartwells.
So what is Melrose?
Melrose, the town. of
Oh,
Massachusetts.
okay,
So
okay.
he comes down from Melrose. I don't know if whether he goes back or forth, or whether he stays for 3 nights or 2 nights on the island.
Well, that's really interesting. that because of his influence, it has had such marked improvement because it was not good. I mean, as we know. So that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
And maybe he's someone that we could consider hiring.
Just pointing out that I'm imagining that Melrose also, consults or contracts out their food services to Chartwell's. And my guess is Christian works for Chartwell's, and when Chartwell's has an opening here in Nantucket, they said, hey, we're gonna pay you extra to spend a couple days to travel, pay for your expenses to go to Nantucket for 3 days to keep our contract in place. So it's not like we can't really just recruit him away, because I'm sure he's very happy in Melrose.
Right, right.
Again, now I'm speculating, but our food service contract, and Martin would be the one who could speak to that, is with Chartwell's. I'm not sure whether it's a 1, 2, or 3 year contract, but I know every once in a while it's up for bidding.
I was just going to ask, that was my next question, because I know that when it went up for bidding last time, they were the only ones that stepped up. But it sounds like they're capable of providing a better product. So I think we just need to be keenly aware of whoever takes that position, that they have the same, choices and whatever, however he's making that happen. Because that's so important. Like, I love hearing you say that you are excited about lunch, because that was not the case.
May I ask another question?
Sure.
Just to our littles, I keep calling them our littles because that's
Well,
what I
they
call my
are.
little. When do you guys have lunch? What time is lunch?
Depends on the grade level.
Okay,
We're 11 to 12:30.
11 to 12:30. Okay,
We're 11 to 1.
okay. I want to come see what lunch looks like down there because I don't like the sound of that. So thank you.
So just to repeat that for everyone at home, NIS is 11 to 12:30 lunches, and NES is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Meg.
I know everybody is excited to hear about the school committee self-evaluation. The school committee filled out a questionnaire where we considered a number of topics. And we evaluated these questions independently, put it together, and I will give you some of the results. Around governance, Laura suggested revisiting the mission statement as it had not been reviewed in several years. Dr. Hallett noted that the mission statement is linked to the district improvement plan. I proposed including the mission statement in meeting packets. That was not met with wild applause.
Smattering of applause.
Committee and superintendent relations. Members acknowledged a past situation that was subject to legal restrictions preventing the school committee from being informed. Dr. Hallett clarified that not all decisions can be shared with the committee based on FERPA. Who knows what FERPA is? But according up to FERPA, we can, some of the things.
I don't know what it stands for,
She
but we
also
know what it
shared
does.
that in a small community such as ours, news sometimes travels faster than our ability to provide clear, factual information in a timely manner. But she will always try and inform the school committee of critical items. Community relations. 2 members disagreed in certain aspects. Dr. Allen reiterated that all public communication goes through the superintendent's office. Mr. Murphy addressed the communication plan for the February 18th meeting, stating that he found it to be thorough. Committee members expressed interest in receiving each school's parent newsletters. Dr. Lepre emphasized the need for more positive press to highlight student achievements beyond sports. Dr. Hallett recalled previous discussions with Yankee about a school feature, while Mr. Murphy suggested sending items to Daybreak. I raised the importance of multilingual communication and sought input from Esmeralda, who indicated that some patients do not feel comfortable engaging. Dr. Hallett stressed the need to create a welcoming environment. The committee proposed outreach via the new Spanish radio station, including interviews. Conduct of meetings. Members expressed a desire for a hybrid meeting option. Concerns were raised about the physical meeting space. Dr. Hallett emphasized the need for audience members to use microphones, while Mr. Murphy confirmed this as an existing procedure. Mr. Murphy suggested adding an announcement to the agenda stating that meetings are recorded. Dr. Hallett reported that we are looking into having the laptop hardwired for improved internet conductivity. We also may need another staff member or school committee member to assist with hybrid participation. Are there any other thoughts?
That's thorough.
That was 2 hours of discussion. A mountain produced a mouse. Okay. Committee discussions and votes to be taken. Vote to approve January 23rd, 2025 workshop meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I, before we get to that, I just noticed in those minutes, within the members present, I'm not listed as a member present, and I was at that meeting. So with that one amendment,
Okay.
Yep.
As amended, approved.
So moved.
Second.
A vote to approve the March 4th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve the grant from the Massachusetts Council on Aging to the Nantucket Community School in the amount of $7,500 to be used for the Memory Cafe.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve transfers and invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Cecilia, you're up.
Hi. Yeah, so the last couple weeks have been nice. Last couple weeks of March. Always an interesting month. The first thing I want to talk about, it's been the first 2 weeks of spring sports. We've had several season openers. And we've done pretty well so far. We had a sailing win last Thursday against Old Rochester. That was 4-1. That was an interesting regatta. I was not there, but apparently there was a freak gust of wind that knocked over all but one boat. It reached 40 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
it was a windy day. And we had the baseball team split a doubleheader in Dorchester on Friday. They beat the first game against Brighton and then lost the second game to Boston Latin Academy, 13-0. And then girls lacrosse team won their season opener 15-9 against St. John Paul. Boys lacrosse team won on Saturday 12-0 against Whitman Hanson. And then the softball team lost the season opener to Barnstable 14-12. So close one. But we've done pretty well so far. Weather providing, practices have been a little bit tricky with the wind and the rain. But we're doing our best. We had a NHS band and chorus concert on the 25th of March. Went very well. Everyone always does a great job at those. But the one thing that was different actually was the band did a conceptual concert, which we've never done before. And we had various community members and the various NPS music directors and teachers play with us. We had almost 40 people on the stage.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think normally we have 15 to 20 students, so we practically doubled it with the community members. It was really nice to play
Nice.
with other people,
Yeah.
so that was great. And what else do I have? Oh, yes. We've had a lot of mock exams for AP students in high school. A lot of studying. I know we had physics, AP Lang, AP Environmental all last week. And there have been various AP Calculus exams. I'm sure there have been others, but a lot of AP Mac exams. And then last Thursday was the last day of Teen Truth. That lesson we talked about finding interests, what activities you like to do, and finding internships, sports, other activities that will help you pursue those interests, which was great. And then the other thing is today the senior class participated in Credit for Life program, which is through Cape Cod 5. We it's like an online program where you not quite sure how to explain it. It's kind of confusing, but you simulate living with a certain career, so you get a month's paycheck, and you have to pay your bills and decide whether you have a car or how, basically build a life and see how you end up at the end. I think most people did a pretty good job. I only heard of a few people who were in debt at the end. So I think most people are pretty smart with their money. Hopefully. So that was great. And then coming up is just the end of the quarter and spring break. So the end of the quarter is April 11th, and spring break is April 19th. A lot of us will be going to Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Miss Hylam isn't here, but she'll be with us. So.
Nice.
But yeah, we're all excited about that.
Can you say a little more about that trip? I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. So it's a history. It's a World War II tour, I think they're calling it. So it's students who have all completed World History 2. Whoever was first to sign up. I think there's 30 students.
Nice.
Mr. West is heading it. He's the history teacher, one of the history teachers. And we're going to England, France, and Germany. So London, Normandy, Paris, Berlin. And we'll be going to some museums and sightseeing, but obviously.
And when is that trip?
During April break. We leave on the 18th, which is coming up very quickly.
It's exciting.
3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I do have one more question, if I may, through the chair. When are the accidentals and naturals going on their New York trip?
They leave on Thursday.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't, so that will be a big thing. They're gone for 4 days.
Nice.
They're going to see Hamilton and maybe one other show. I don't remember.
In Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah, in Chicago. Yeah,
Big
that's right.
ones.
Yeah.
nice.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Subcommittee, work groups,
Nothing to report?
okay. Vince, you had something here?
I did. It's only small, and just want to talk about recruitment for a second. I fully understand recruitment is the preserve of principles, and this isn't a way to try and get involved, just to find ways to give support. I was looking at some jobs that were advertised today, and for the FY25 term that's left to us, there's a total of 9 different jobs, part-time and full-time, that are on the that are being posted. For FY26, there's 8 jobs of varying grades for math teachers, elementary teachers, reading, wellness, English language, and so on. Just using school committee as kind of a sounding board to be able to say that these are out there, that people can apply for them. And I also saw that for the Nantucket Community Schools, there's also 6 jobs, just pointing that out. But in looking at that, I was thinking, in order to be able to just look for good staff, one of the things that is just the typical way it's done, you just post it online, you get the applicants you get, and then you hire from that pool. But what if there was another way of looking at it, if there was the possibility that there could be recruitment fairs, going to colleges and universities, or talking to professors at universities to find out who their some of their higher level graduates might be, so that we could start targeting people in a different way to look at recruitment to get people here. Finding just ways to look at, getting people who might be graduating in 4 or 5 years and bring them back. Right? So things like that, just to see how we can improve our pool of candidates to try and get what's better candidates to come work for the school system here, even if it's retirement jobs. Someone who's been doing this in a different part of the world wants to do a part-time thing once they come to their Nantucket retirement home. So to find other ways to get staff. Housing is obviously a big issue. That's not what I'm really here to talk about, but finding the candidates in the first place to get them interested, that's kind of what I would like to put a bit of light on at some point, and trying to, again, remind ourselves we're not really involved for recruiting. That's the preserve of principles, but how do we support that? That's the only thing I wanted to bring up today, and to say that these are posted jobs that are currently available, and I should imagine more will be on the way. Thank you.
Thanks. The agenda for the next meeting, April 18th. Transportation update, applied learning presentation, cell phone, social media policy, third quarter budget food service, update school choice participation vote. Anybody got anything else?
If I can add one thing, the Nantucket Cultural District grant cycle just opened today, and it runs until the end of this month. It's open to teachers and schools as well. So if you have any projects that you're working on, art, music, any cultural events that you're trying to put together, even for school trips elsewhere, please consider applying. I'm begging you to apply. It's so easy. The questions are really basic. It doesn't take much. I beg not put in anything more than 250 words into each question section to make it so easy for us to give the money out. But we never get any requests from the public school. And we're always thrilled to support the community school, but we'd love to see some from our teachers as well to support our kids here.
And is it on your website? Or?
It is up on the website. I'm hoping that it went out today to media. I had comms take it. So the application should be posted in some of our spaces soon. So
That's great.
if not, and it'll be going out in the Chamber's newsletter as well. I'm trying to get it out to the entire community because we get the same 6 groups that apply every year, and I'd love to see some more folks. So
Nice.
Nice, Chantal.
thank you.
Super.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.